If you're moving from Kenosha to Illinois, I already know what is at the top of your list. Cost of living, property taxes, the commute. But there's one thing that I hear from Illinois parents before they're even ready to look at a single house, before they're ready to talk numbers or neighborhoods. It's the schools. And I get it, because when you're uprooting your family, when your kids are going to have to walk into a new building and start over, the school question is not just a checkbox. It's personal. And here's the problem. Most of what you'll find about Kenosha schools online is either outdated, oversimplified, or it's just not what you're looking for. You actually need to make a good decision. So that's what this video is. A complete guide to public schools, private schools, magnet programs, how the district is structured, and most importantly, how all this should shape where you should buy. So stay with me. By the end of this, you will know more about Kenosha schools than most people who already live here. Here's one of the first things that surprises most Illinois families. Kenosha Unified School District is the third largest school district in the entire state of Wisconsin. We're talking about 31 schools and 5 specialty programs, serving roughly 18,729 students. This is not a small town school system where your kids are going to be in a class size of 12. This is real scale here, real resources, real options. And here's a piece that most people miss. The district is only half the picture. The other half is geography. Where you buy inside the city determines which school your kids attend. That single detail changes everything about how I structure a home church for your family for a family with kids. I'm going to walk you through all of it. I'm Chad Scott, the mayor of Kenosha. I'm a local real estate agent here with eXp Realty. Ollie and I have helped lots of Illinois families navigate this exact decision. So let's get into it. But before I go any further, I put together a free Kenosha school ratings guide that breaks down every school zone in the area where Illinois families are buying the most right now. The link is in the description below. Go ahead and grab it and follow along while you watch this video. So let's start at the foundation, because this is where most of the confusion comes from. Kenosha Unified School District, KUSD, is the primary public school district serving the city of Kenosha. The district runs 31 schools total, spanning elementary, middle, and high school levels. Now there is a geographic nuance here that matters a lot. So if you're looking at homes in Pleasant Prairie or Somers, which many Illinois families are, Pleasant Prairie and Somers also feed into KUSD. But the school that it feeds into may differ. If Pleasant Prairie is on your radar, you need to verify the specific address and which boundary school you are in before you fall in love with the house. I say this to every family that I work with. Neighborhood names are marketing. School zone lines are legal, but they change often. They are not the same thing, and they do not always match what the map looks like. When you work with us, verifying the school assignment is a standard step on every house that you look at seriously. It's not something that you should have to figure out on your own. But I want you to understand the logic now, before we ever sit down, so that you're not making assumptions based on a neighborhood, name, or a zip code. The rule is simple. Verify by address every single time. First, let's talk high schools, because for families with kids in middle school or approaching high school age, this is usually the question with the most weight. KUSD has 3 comprehensive high schools: Bradford, Tremper, and Indian Trail, plus some specialty high schools. Bradford High School sits on the north side of the city, Tremper on the south side, and Indian Trail High School and Academy, which covers the west and some of the newer development areas. Each one serves a defined geographic zone. There are specialized high schools in KUSD as well, like Harborside and Lakeview Tech as well. They don't have boundaries and would require transportation to and from the school. Now here's what I want you to actually think about, because this is where most people get tripped up. They look at the school ranking numbers and make decisions off of that. And ranking numbers are not useless, but they're not usually the whole picture either. What matters more is usually the specific programs available at each school, and whether those programs are a fit for your kid. Indian Trail, for example, has developed a strong reputation for its technical education and the career pathway programs, including partnerships with Gateway Technical College dual enrollment. That's a big deal if you have a kid who is a hands-on and is career-focused. Bradford has a long athletic tradition and strong community identity. Tremper has its own program strengths, such as athletics, AP classes, and a focus on student life. The point is not that one is better than another in some abstract way. The point is that the right school depends on your kid, and the right house depends on which school zone puts your kid in the right environment. This is why the first question that I ask a relocating family with high schoolers is not what is their budget, it's what is their kid into, because that tells me where to focus their search on. Kenosha is unique in that they have open enrollment as well. Even if you don't live in the school's boundary zone, you can still request to send your kid to a specific school. For families with younger kids, the elementary and middle school picture follows the same geographic logic. Your address determines your assignment. KUSD operates 16 elementary schools and 4 middle schools across the district, plus a couple choice schools throughout the district. The quality and culture does vary by building, which is true in every district anywhere that you go. That is not unique to Kenosha. What I want you to walk away with understanding from this section is one practical thing. Do not assume two houses in the same neighborhood go to the same school. Street lines and zone boundaries do not always follow what makes visual sense on a map. There are streets in Kenosha where one side of the road feeds into one elementary school and the other side feeds into a completely different one. This is not unusual. It happens in school districts everywhere. But it is something you absolutely need to check before you make an offer. The tool to use is the KUSD School Finder. You enter a specific address and it tells you exactly which school that home feeds into, and the elementary, middle, and high school level. I will drop the link directly in the description below this video, alongside the guide. When I'm working with a family and we get serious about a specific address, I run that lookup as part of my process, every single time. You should never have to guess on something this important. This is the section that Illinois families are most surprised by, and honestly one that gets overlooked the most, even by us locals. KUSD has magnet and specialty programs that operate completely different from the standard neighborhood school model. And if one of these is a fit for your child, it can change the entire calculus of where you buy. Here's what I mean. In a standard neighborhood assignment, your address determines your school. Pretty standard, right? But a magnet program is open to students across the whole district. Your address does not determine eligibility. The program, the application, and sometimes a lottery process does. KUSD currently operates a dual language immersion program at Espola, serving grades pre-K through 5. There's also a project learning-based program at Lutheran High School that draws students from across the district. Enrollment for these programs typically opens in the winter-spring of the previous school year. Now, why does this matter for your home search? Well, because if a magnet program is a priority for your family, the geography of where you buy really becomes less restrictive. You're not locked into one school zone, but the timing of enrollment matters a lot. If you're planning to move for the next fall and a specific program is on your list, we need to know that before we even start looking, not after you have an accepted offer. The program timeline and the real estate timelines have to work together. So if private school is part of your equation, Kenosha has real options, and there is something I want to say up front before I walk through them. Private school tuition in this area is significantly lower than what most Illinois families are used to paying. I cannot tell you how many times I've had a family come in with a separate private school budget built into their plan, and they get here and realize the math is completely different. If you were paying $15,000 to $30,000 per year per child in the Chicago suburbs, the options here are going to feel like a completely different conversation. Now, let's talk about the options. St. Joseph Catholic Academy is one of the more established private options in Kenosha, serving students from 3K through 12th grade. It has a strong Catholic identity in a community that has been here a really long time. Shoreland Lutheran High School is another option that families in the northern part of the county often consider, particularly those coming from a faith-based school background. Kenosha Christian Life is a private school that is very popular and offers 3K through 12th grade, as well as the Kenosha Montessori School for kids ages 6 through 12, and Talos Academy is a newer private school that is still growing. What I always tell families to do not write private school in or out of your plan before you had a chance to look at the options here. The numbers may be more manageable than you expect, and that changes how you think about your overall housing budget. I'm going to bring all of this together into something practical because the information is only useful if you know how to act on it. When I work with a relocating family that has school-age kids, here's exactly how we handle it. First, conversation. Before we look at a single listing, I ask what school priorities matter to your family. Not just the name of the school, the actual priorities. Is it a specific academic program, a sport, a faith-based environment, a particular learning style? Those answers tell me which geographic areas to focus on and which to set aside. Second, for every address that we get serious about, I verify the school assignment directly. Not from Zillow, not from Realtor.com, from the district's official tool. Real estate websites pull school data from third-party sources, and those sources are not always current. I have seen them be wrong. I do not work that way. Third, if you have kids who are currently enrolled, we talk about timing. A mid-year move is a different animal than a summer move. It affects your child's social adjustment, their academic continuity, their sports season. We build that into how we structure the search when we target for closing. And fourth, if a magnet or specialty program is on your list. We map the enrollment timeline, the real estate timeline. From day one, those timelines have to work together, or one of them is going to get forced. We have helped families that have moved here specifically for the schools, and families that were pleasantly surprised at the school choices. When they got here and saw all the options, schools are a big deal for families, and before we decide on a house, we should have a serious conversation about your goals. I know that level of process probably sounds like a lot, but this is exactly the kind of thing that does not show up on any real estate website. It is what working with someone who actually knows this market and who has helped families make this specific move actually looks like. If any of what I just walked through is hitting home for you, if you have got kids and schools are a real factor in where you land, I want to offer something. Just a conversation. No pressure, no sales pitch. Just me asking you the same questions I ask every family I work with, and us figuring out together which areas of Kenosha actually make sense for your situation. You might be 6 months out, you might be looking to move in 90 days. It does not matter. The earlier we have that conversation, the more clearly we can map out the path. Click the link in the description to grab a time. We will hop on a call, get your priorities sorted, and I will give you a clear picture of what your options actually look like. If you found this helpful, hit subscribe. I put up videos like this every single week, covering the Kenosha market, specific neighborhoods, what things actually cost, and what it looks like to make this move from Illinois. And if you want to go deeper on neighborhoods, I've got a video that walks through where Illinois families are landing most in Kenosha and what each area offers. I will link it right here. I'll see you in the next one.